depends what movie you're watching, because on my 75-inch TV, most everything looks fantastic.
What kind of TV is it?
It's a LG.
LG, because life's good. Yes. See what I did there? Mm-hmm. Very cool. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Beyond the Ink. I'm Matt Valdez, of course. And today, I've got a special guest, which is kind of an odd situation, story, pretty fucking cool. Kind of like a Step Brothers-esque type of scenario. But I'd like you to meet Drew. Say hello.
What up, everybody?
So this is Drew, and today we're going to be working on kind of a Seattle with Washington-based, your hometown, right? Like,
yes.
Gotta say.
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
That's why Drew is who Drew is today.
So we're gonna add Mount Rainier. We're gonna add another tree, a couple different things, basically developing this sleeve. And on the inside, we're gonna put Sasquatch right here being abducted by a nice little UFO. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna take a nice little journey today. But the funnier thing is how we met. I think that's the funnier, because meet people random, all over the place, all the time.
Absolutely, my favorite thing to do.
Right?
Meet random people.
Which is kind of cool. So, give you a little backstory. So, I'm taking a flight to Washington to see my son, and actually have an episode on that with Evan. And get on the flight. I've got a little bit of a hearing issue, kind of like a head trauma, so I have to sit in the front, which is why I always, sit in front. Kind of too many dings to the head. Makes sense. So I sit in the front. There's another lady who sits on the side. Plane's getting kind of full, which always happens. No big deal. And then my man Drew here says, "Is the middle seat taken?" And I said, "It's all yours, buddy. No problem." The middle seat person is usually one of two ways. You're kind of like a 50-50 crapshoot when you're on the flight. They're either really cool or just fucking god-awful annoying,
Or they stink.
They're just a big beast of a person who it's just not the right thing, And so anyway, my man Drew here sits down, and I've got my iPad, I've got my headphones, like one ready to go in case you were just gonna be, that guy. And so I'm like, fuck, all right. But you said, "How you doing?" "My name's Drew." And I was like, "Oh, all right. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Matt," whatever. We didn't stop talking the whole fucking flight. And that was what, 3 hours, maybe a little about 3.5 hours-ish, give or take.
Plus the time we're sitting on the tarmac, taxiing the tarmac. But 3 hours, give or take, a little bit. So
it was like a lot of things in common, a lot of some cool shit. And yeah, man, it was almost like I said, that Step Brothers moment where, like, do we just become best friends? Like, it's pretty fucking funny. So
good times.
Yeah, and by the way, Southwest Airlines, phenomenal. You gotta love them and their wanna get away. The funnier thing was the flight attendant. He kept serving drinks, kept being cool, asking dumb fucking questions.
I kept buying drinks.
You kept buying drinks. So that was some funny shit. But he was asking like the dumbest fucking questions, Or he would say the stupidest shit, and it's like, come on, man, just let us hang out. Let us just do your thing.
Quit interrupted. This is an A and B conversation.
Right. Fucking people, dude. But it was funny, especially the part where he says, I almost forgot my hustle butter. Gotta have the hustle butter, man. This shit's the best. And I know I say it in every video. I'm not getting paid for advertising. I'm just saying the shit is the best. Hustle butter deluxe. Check it out. Go see it. You'll love it. Yeah, what did he say? He said the flight attendant, after a couple drinks.
It was after, I think, my third drink. The flight attendant, for some reason, had the need to ask me if I was driving. And I just kind of looked up at him with this blank stare. It was just, nope, I'm actually flying right now. I'm not driving, so I think I'm good.
Yeah. I don't think he was expecting that answer, which was pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
At the time, because he's just like, are you driving? And you're like, no, I'm flying.
Flying. On Southwest Airlines.
On South, unless I'm not the pilot.
Think you are too.
Which at this point would be kind of weird because I'm pretty fucking faded. I shouldn't even be anywhere near a plane. Yeah, that was some funny shit, dude. He was like, he was getting all in your business, trying to ask questions and stuff.
Who knows? Maybe he was doing it on purpose just to be funny, you know.
Maybe.
Give him the benefit of the doubt. You never know. Or maybe he was just
being a prick.
being that guy.
Yeah.
Like, are you driving? I don't know, man.
Where the hell are you driving anyway? You're in
I could
the
be
fucking sky.
Yeah, I could be a backseat driver in the plane right now and tell the pilot, like, hey, no, oh, slow down. Wait, no, take a left. Wait, no, hold up.
Did you just miss that? I just missed that. Yeah.
You were supposed to bank a left 100 feet ago. What's going on?
So, a little bit about you, dude. You're from Washington.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. What part of Washington?
Grew up in West Seattle.
Okay.
So.
Wear a lot of flannel?
No, actually.
Listen to Nirvana? No, I'm kidding.
You know, I'll be perfectly honest. When I was growing up and where I'm from, I grew up inner city. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people might not understand this unless they're from a place like where I'm from, but, you know, I was the minority in my area, so listening to certain types of music was definitely frowned upon.
Yeah.
Would have made you the outcast. But I fell into rap music, hip hop, stuff like that. Not necessarily because of the kids at school and worried about that, but had a neighbor that was a few years older than me, and he was real into, you know, speakers and making his car just thump as loud as he could. So, of course, you know, you're not going to really listen to Nirvana if you're worried about having 412s in the trunk of your minivan. You're going to listen to rap music because that's where all the bass comes from.
Damn right.
But, yeah, it's definitely a unique place, in my opinion.
You still have a lot of family out there, or it's kind of...
Mostly just friends in West Seattle now. My parents still live in Washington, but they're in Normandy Park or Burien. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. They're like in a weird section where they're on the border of Burien, SeaTac, Normandy Park type area. Much different than West Seattle. But yeah, mom and dad's there. My grandma still lives out there on the east side. I got a couple cousins that still live around there. But mostly the thing that draws me back is all my close friends. You know, I grew up only child, and my best friends that I grew up with, those are my brothers. You know, that's my family.
Yeah.
I trust those. Well, I guess now I could count all of them probably on one hand that are back home that you know, trust my life with or whatever, but...
Well, you're only allowed that. You know that, right?
That, I mean, well, that, and plus, you know, that's what happens when you get older.
True.
You start to realize the real versus the fake, you know, and who's really your friend, who's not your friend, who's going to be there for you, support you through thick and thin, you know.
I call those my 3 a.m. friends, because you'd be like 3 a.m., you know, they'll be dead asleep with their family. If you need them, they'll be like, hey man, let me just put some clothes on real quick. I'll come out, get you. Like, let's say you've broken down on the side of the road or whatever.
Right.
Or you really, really need them, you know? I've got about a handful of friends like that, you know?
Yeah, that's same. And it's interesting you call them the 3 a.m. friends, because I think it's the 3 a.m. experiences that help you weed out who are your real friends and who
so
aren't
true.
your real friends.
So true.
You know?
So true. So yeah, growing up in good old Washington must have been interesting, huh?
Oh, very much so. It's kind of one thing that's kind of interesting to think about too, is that if you see how people are that are inner city versus people that live in the outlying areas, we just all have a different way of life, you know. And again, I think it's one of the reasons why I'm so proud of where I'm from, how I grew up, what I experienced. You know, my life wasn't all just sunshine and butterflies on a daily basis.
Some rainbows and shit.
You know, I mean, I saw a lot of things. I experienced a lot of things that most people and most parents wouldn't want themselves or their kids to go through. But also, too, I think it's just one of those real world factors that you have to appreciate, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like the way I think about it, because I've always wanted to have a kid. I don't have kids of my own, but I wouldn't, if I had the choice of raising a kid in, you know, suburban America, whitewashed neighborhood area versus raising a kid inner city around culture, diversity, hard times, poverty, it might sound bad, but I'd almost want to raise my kids in the inner city, around the poverty, around the hard times, around the diversity, because just because of the way that I feel I've become over these years, is just being around that diversity gives you more of a soul, I think. More of a soul, but also it gives you more of an appreciation for life.
Yeah.
And more appreciation for other people.
I agree with you. I know it sounds funny. Excuse me. I agree with you a lot on that, because when you have to earn something, you know, and it's just not given to you, you know, you don't have, like, I grew up the same way. I didn't have everything handed to me, you know. I'm the youngest of one older sister, 2 older brothers, you know, and so growing up, man, I had all the hand-me-downs, I had all the
Right.
shitty stuff, and granted, I had some nice stuff, you know, my grandfather and grandmother, and, you know, my mom was busy a lot. She's a very detached woman, but, you know, we had stuff, we had our, growing up, you know, excuse me, the fucking Rona. No, I'm kidding. But we had, you know, I think when you do grow up in that style of where you don't have everything given to you, and it's like you do watch your friends get their ass kicked or jumped or stabbed or shot or whatever. There is drugs involved. There's gang life, and definitely teaches you how to appreciate life and appreciate, you know, creates value for a lot of different things, you know, not just.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just it teaches you culture, it teaches you humanity, and
Don't fuck around and.
well, yeah, absolutely. And it also it gives you the opportunity to really grow a sense of, I think, ownership in what you do, because you know, growing up in an area like that, if you do something that people don't like or don't appreciate, they're going to check you on it.
Yeah.
They're going to say something.
You're going to get
And you're
dealt
going to
with.
know that you either shouldn't have said that or shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. And that's true. I mean, growing up where I grew up, and we moved around a lot, don't get me wrong. We moved around a lot. And some of the neighborhoods and areas that we grew up in, you know, were not the greatest neighborhoods. And, you know, we got in fights and we got, you know, the gang life was there. I never joined a gang, never had to. My brothers did, but it was never for me. You know, my grandfather was very, very adamant about me not joining gangs. You know, I would have to do anything. You know, I was in music, I was in sports, I was in anything and everything, just so that way I wouldn't, or I didn't succumb to some gang life, you know.
That's good. I mean, that's good you had somebody pushing you doing that.
You know,
I got lucky, I guess, because I got into sports really early on when I was at a young age. And thankfully I stuck with it, because I can look back into my past and I can probably identify many different moments where my life could have taken the wrong turn. But I was too into sports, you know, until I got to high school. You know, I didn't join a gang or anything like that, but that's just when I started
being a little more of a knucklehead.
yeah, and started to feel like I was too cool for. I mean, I did karate for like 7 years, 8 years. I was a brown belt in karate. I was one test away from becoming a black belt, and then all of a sudden I became a teenager and decided that I was too cool to do karate
To do
anymore.
karate.
So I just up and quit. And it's one of those things I look back on like, damn, I should have stuck with it. I mean, because, you know, I look at it as like,
Could
you
have been a
know,
black belt.
well, almost like a comparison, like I'm building a house and then I get to the last part of putting the roof on and then I'm just like, whatever, and walk away. And I never put the roof on the house, you know?
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
But then again, who knows? If I would have stuck with it, I don't know where I'd be at. I don't know who I would be. I don't know if I'd be sitting in your chair right now getting a tattoo. And, you know, I think one of the biggest things
I might have
is-
met you.
You never know.
I might have.
We still could have met on the plane.
Still could have met on the plane.
We
joking
probably
around.
would have met on the plane regardless. Might not have been the same day.
Yeah, that's
but we
true.
probably would have met on the plane.
Been like, what's up, man? I know. It's funny.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, I think sometimes you come across people in your life that you're just
Drawn to?
that, or I wouldn't necessarily, well, I don't think I would say drawn to, because it wasn't like, you know, we picked each other out of a crowd. I
Yeah.
think it's more or less like you were destined to meet.
Yeah.
Not so much in like the sense of like a fantasy or anything like that, but more or less
It wasn't my long flowing hair and boyish good looks.
it was, honestly.
Or maybe your long flowing hair and boyish good
That's what took me so long to get here today. The hair guy was late.
The hair and makeup trailer was.
But I think it's just, you know, it's one of those things where as long as you keep expressing your own personal beliefs and energy, sooner or later the world is going to put you around those types of people who have similar beliefs and similar energy.
I agree. I do.
And
Yeah, it was pretty cool though. I mean, not gonna lie. Again, I fly a lot, and there's times where I sit next to that person, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's almost like that sucks. All right.
you know, it's funny you say that though, because I do my best to try to talk to people wherever I go.
Yeah.
if I'm sitting next to somebody that I don't know or whatever, I'll make a random comment, random joke, random statement, whatever, just to try to spark up a conversation with them. And especially on a flight, you know, one thing that kind of really comes back to memory was, I don't remember the guy's name, but I was on a flight to Seattle from Phoenix, and I wasn't on Southwest though, so I wasn't just on a random seat, I was on an assigned seat. Well, it just so happened my assigned seat, I'm sitting next to, I can't remember where the guy was from, somewhere in the Middle East, either way. Wearing a turban, big ass beard, you know, and instantly, as soon as I sat down next to him, I struck up a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up? What's your name? What do you do? Why are you flying here? Not because I'm trying to interrogate the guy, I'm just trying to get to know him. And the first thing that sparked the conversation was his beard. Because my beard used to be like down to here.
Yeah.
And he had a pretty lengthy beard. So I would just complimented him, hey man, you got a nice beard. I love that, you know. And it was just kind of, it was very humbling because after maybe like an hour's worth of conversation with the guy, he made the comment. He said, you know, he's like, I really appreciate the conversation and you talking to me. And he said 9 out of 10 times when I get on a plane, people see me with a turban and a beard, and they have some sort of idea that I'm going to blow up the plane or whatever. And he said, I'm just an IT guy that's trying to get to my next place where I got to work at. I have no interest in doing anything like that. I'm a peaceful person. I'm not violent. I said, hey, you know, the way I was raised, when I sat down next to you, I didn't see your turban. I didn't see your beard. I saw another human being that I wanted to talk to so that I could pass the time.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that to me kind of rings true back to where I'm from, because of how diverse and how cultured it was in Seattle. Was you don't see people for the color, what they're wearing, nothing. You just see them for how they talk to you, how they treat you, and that's it.
I think that's what's shitty about society, you know, these days is immediately you're judged. You're just like, when I get on a plane, I sit down, you know, depending on what I'm wearing is how the conversation, if someone wants to spark up a conversation with me. And there's been multiple cases, multiple times where people just don't want to talk to me. They're just like, nope, I'm not going to talk to you, buddy. Until they find out, or like, let's say I'm editing pictures or doing something or going through pictures on my phone or tablet. Maybe some work that I've done or anything. And then that's usually what sparks up the conversation. To tattoos. Oh, you're a tattoo artist. Oh, okay. And then I have a tattoo. Oh, okay, cool. Like when we talked, you know. Oh, you're a tattoo artist. Oh, cool. Well, I got this big old dragon tattoo that I got from my buddy, and you know, and that's usually how it starts with me. But man, I get so many people that are so judgmental. Like, I even had a lady on one flight. She was telling me, "Oh my gosh, like you're not even like what I thought you were," and I said, what you thought I was? Like, what is that supposed to mean? And
what
she's
did you
like,
think
yeah,
I
like,
was?
bitch.
Right?
Like, that's some shit, you know? Like, why would you even say that? That's just kind of like, all right, that sucks.
That's interesting too. And it just so happened I was on another Southwest flight, and it was the same scenario. Front seat on the plane.
Yep.
A guy sitting in the aisle seat, an older lady on the seat, you know, on the other side, middle seat open. So right away, all I care about is like front seat. That's what I want. I want to be first on, first off the plane.
That's right. Leg room. No, I'm kidding.
And so I, asked him, hey, can I sit down? And the guy sitting next to me, he got judged. Not necessarily by the way that he looked, well, kind of sort of the way that he looked, but also because of the way that he smelled.
Oh, wow.
And so
Shower people. Jesus.
it's actually,
No,
it's really not a story about hygiene and things like that. So,
oh, great. I'm a dick.
That's why I didn't even want to sit next to you on the plane. It's
Right?
just because
Yeah, I smell
the
good.
middle seat was open.
I smell good, damn it.
But so, he had a smell like he had peed his pants a couple times.
Oh, wow.
And so after I sat down, and I didn't really care. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna tough it out for 3 hours because I'd rather sit in the front versus the back. I really don't care. And then before we even took off, the stewardess came up and made a comment that they wanted him to get off of the plane because the way that he smelled. Well, what they didn't realize was that he was an Army veteran that was paralyzed from the waist down, and he had been shot in the stomach 3 or 4 times while he was overseas in Iraq, which had destroyed his bladder.
Yeah.
And so he's routinely getting bladder infections. And when you have a bladder infection, you really can't control your pee sometimes. Like, it just comes out, I guess, whatever. I don't know all the facts and findings behind it, but he's like, yeah, I'm on my way to Washington right now to go to the VA hospital up there because they have much better treatment and programs for wounded veterans like myself. And so, anyways, they tried to kick him off the plane, and he said, flat out said, I am not getting off this plane. He's like, I was shot X number of times for this country so that you are still allowed to have a job and fly planes right now, and you want to kick me off because I'm sick? He said, nope. He's like, I'm not contagious. I'm not endangering anybody.
Yeah.
And he said, I have a wheelchair that's stowed away right now. I can't walk. You're going to have to carry me off this plane if you want me to get off.
Damn.
And so
Bullshit.
right away, when the lady started talking about it, like, my first thought was to speak up and say something. So I did. I was like, hey, he's not bothering me, and I'm sitting right next to him, And I said, if you want to take him off this flight, you're gonna have to forcibly remove me as well. I said, I'm not gonna sit here and stand for you guys removing this guy from the flight because he's trying to get back to Washington to get treatment because of what's going on with him.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's fucked up about the gentleman on the plane.
Yeah, it was sad, honestly.
So then what? They just
let him ride.
let him ride, man.
Yeah, and honestly, it was.
Do you think it was because you and the other lady had a lot to do with it?
I think so, because we're two normal people that stood up for him when it was a couple.
Who was talking shit? Was it just like some fucking random bastards that were just?
I'm sure based on Southwest Airlines privacy laws, they weren't going to tell us. But
Oh yeah.
either way, it doesn't matter who was talking shit. It's just the fact that the flight attendants were willing to
Kick this guy off.
or at least try to anyway. And the fact that they didn't get him off the plane just goes to show, like, they're doing it for the wrong reasons,
Yeah. He wasn't belligerent. He wasn't angry. He wasn't talking tons of shit. He was just minding his own.
Completely respectful until they persisted on the fact of getting him off the plane.
Yeah. Which I think is fucking dog shit. That's so stupid, man. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when we were flying, then all of a sudden they want to treat him like, oh, is there anything we can do to make you more comfortable? Would you like a blanket? This and that, And he's like, no, I'm good. He's like, I don't need anything from you. You don't need to be nice to me now just because you were trying to kick me off the airplane and
Yeah.
these two wonderful people sitting next to me didn't stand up for it, or stood up for me and didn't let you kick me off the plane, and I mean, I ended up same thing, whole flight talking to the dude the whole way,
Mm-hmm.
stories left and right, um,
I bet he had some pretty good stories too.
absolutely, absolutely. I have it saved in my phone, but he also is part of a nonprofit organization for
Nice.
wounded veterans, and it's not the whole Wounded Warrior, like the most popular one, but
Yeah.
he's a part of a different one, which was cool. And I sent him a deck of cards that my buddy designed. So my buddy Lauren, he's in the Army, he's an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and he designed these warrior cards. So they're like basic playing cards,
Mm-hmm.
but each of them have a different picture on it of some sort of a battle scene or soldiers or whatever,
Okay.
which I thought was really cool, And again, he's doing it for a nonprofit organization, helping out wounded veterans, PTSD, all that other stuff.
Very
So,
cool. Very cool. Very cool.
yeah.
So, I used to tattoo a lot of wounded veterans. I still talk to a lot of them actually, but they were with a motorcycle club, and really really cool dudes. We would do a couple of their wounded veteran runs and tattoo in their clubhouse. Well, they did a lot of those. Adopt a veteran and then give him money or whatever they raised for his medical costs or just things like that, because these guys are coming back and they're missing limbs and
Yeah,
pretty
they're jacked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Jinx. I'm kidding.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
See what happened. So but you ride, right? I mean,
Yep.
you ride your motorcycle. In fact, you rode it today.
Wrote it
right?
today.
Yeah.
I got two of them.
What kind do you got? The big,
I got
what do you call it, a bagger, I guess?
yeah, it's a 2017 Harley Davidson Road Glide. It's pretty customized. Got a lot of work done to it. Candy paint, air ride front and back.
Very cool.
Not much on the bike has been left stock, so custom bike, show bike, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a 2015 Suzuki GSXR 600 crotch rocket. That's my, whenever I want to go fast, that's what I ride.
Yeah, that's your.
Yeah, leave the Honda Accord at home. Hop on the Gixxer.
I'm just fucking. Now what is it? It's 1,000 or
No, 600.
600. Okay.
Yeah. I used to ride thousands back in the day, and just too much trouble. Always trying to ride a wheelie everywhere I went.
So
Gotten in trouble too many times from running from cops, stuff like that.
the very first motorcycle that I learned how to ride was 1,000cc, whatever you want to call it, Gixxer.
Yeah, great starter bike.
Holy fuck!
Great starter bike.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. I couldn't. Again, I'm brand fucking new, and it was my friend's trick bike. He's do all these crazy tricks on it, and he'd ride and then jump off, and then I don't know, he did some crazy shit on it.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, I'll teach you how to ride. I was like, all right, cool.
Let's do it.
And yeah, man, it was pretty fucking crazy. But it was fun. I really, really wanted to buy a bike. And at the time, though, I was like, yeah, trying to not to convince my wife, but it was more of a, well, the kids need this and the kids need that. And so, yeah, couldn't really afford it at the time, So But something that I definitely want to do, I know, sounds bad, but I still want to do it because it felt so good. It was fun, man. I
You
gotta
should.
lie. I had a good time.
For me, riding a motorcycle it's therapeutic in one sense. It's freedom, and it's also a thrill. It's an adrenaline rush. I mean, especially like riding my Gixxer 600, even though it's only a 600, it's fast. I mean,
Yeah, they don't.
I think I topped it out at like 170 miles an hour one day.
Oh shit.
But a sport bike like that, that's 600 and above, literally you are on your own personal roller coaster. You know, if you have a need for speed, you're gonna push the limits if you ever buy a sport bike. I mean, who knows? Maybe there are people that don't push the limits, but for me, I don't see any way around it. It's gonna happen.
But you've been riding for a long time though.
Yeah, almost
Right.
20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I bought my first Gixxer 600 when I was 20 years old. Been riding ever since. Loved it. Well, still do love it, actually. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things I don't think I'll ever give up. You know, if I get to the point where I can't control a two-wheeled motorcycle anymore, I'll probably be one of those guys you see on the road on a trike.
Really?
Absolutely.
Those trikes are pretty damn cool though. Now I mean, I know it sounds funny, but
Oh, they definitely are.
they're pretty badass. I see these old cats that are on there.
That's why they're riding them, is because
Yeah.
they can't, you know, they don't have the strength to, you know, my Road Glide weighs damn near 900 pounds with a full tank.
Oh shit.
So when you're starting and stopping, you have to manhandle that thing, and it
Yeah.
is not easy, you know.
You ever lay it down?
Nope.
Nice. Very cool.
And so I've been riding 20 years, never crashed, never laid a bike down, knock on wood.
Definitely knock on some wood.
Some kind of wood.
Right? Hit your penis. No.
I mean, as they, like the saying goes, there's two types of riders. There's ones that have been down and ones that are gonna go down.
Yeah, because I've always heard that. My uncle would, you know, he told me one time, he said, it's not if you're going to lay it down, it's when. And I was like, why would you say that? Well, it's kind of a dickhead thing to say.
Right.
Like,
But it's the truth, though, honestly, and a big factor in it in regards to when are you gonna lay it down is it's based on other people, not you.
that's true.
You know,
Yeah.
especially out here, depending on what area you're in, such a high concentration of retirees that I'm not saying they're bad drivers, they're just slower to
Fucking
react.
bad drivers.
Fucking terrible drivers.
Horrible drivers. Especially here in Surprise.
Well,
Oh my
especially
God.
especially in Arizona, where your license lasts 45 years.
This
Like
is
that's
true.
total bullshit.
Yeah.
That should not be the way it is.
Yeah, I went to the MVD and or MVD or is it DOT? What do they call it? Motor vehicle or some bullshit, I don't know, whatever.
MBD, probably.
Yeah, because they don't call it DMV. Like in California, we call it DMV.
Yeah, it's that same in Washington, DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yeah.
Here,
Out here it's-
MVD is, I think it's Motor Vehicle Department.
Yeah, some shit.
Same
Or
thing.
Department of Transportation, DOT, or some, you know, whatever.
Right.
So we were over there, and this poor little old man, I mean, could barely even walk into the damn, you know, and they denied him. You know, he got denied. It was just, they were like, you can't read, you can't see anything on the road. How the hell did you even drive here? He said, well, because I don't have anyone else that can do it for me. You know, what do I do? And she's like, well, you can't drive. Like they literally took his shit right there.
That's crazy.
I was like, oh my God. Like I had never seen it happen. Although I bitch and moan about, you know, the older cats that are driving and, you know,
Yeah, I don't.
like all crazy, but
They need to have more extensive driver tests for people once they hit a certain age.
well, I agree.
I mean, hearing, eyesight, hearing, all that stuff is, you know, obviously not a guarantee, but it's likely that it's diminishing over the years. So, you know, it's like safety with everybody else on the road.
Got the Rona.
Got that Rona.
Goddamn coronavirus.
God damn it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Living in a pandemic.
That's a definitely a scary thing, you know, being a motorcycle rider. But one thing I'm really good about is observing and
So like situational awareness.
yeah, I mean it's all based on observation and, you know, scaling the distance between yourself and other cars. And you know, if I'm on the freeway and I get stuck in a pack of cars, my first instinct is I need to get out of here and away from this group of cars. So I'm going to either speed up and get out the way, or I'm going to slow down, let them pull away, and then that way I'm on my own, you know. And like one of the things I remember being taught in driver's ed in a car was when you're driving down a road, especially like a straight road, you want to pay more attention to 3 seconds ahead of you versus right in front of you, because things will sneak up on you. But on a motorcycle, it's like you have to pay attention to what's 10 seconds in front of you, especially through a curve. And you also have to pay attention to what's 2 to 3 seconds to your left, to your right, and also behind you. Because people will rear end you because you've only got one tail light versus 2 tail lights.
Yeah.
And they can't tell, you know, if it's night and it's foggy, whether it's in the left lane, the right lane, or the lane in front of them.
It's crazy. So you ride all the time.
Yep, all the time.
It's crazy. Because like right now would be
Except
what?
for when I'm flying, then I'm not riding.
That's true. Very well.
That's why I could order more drinks on that flight.
So you have a 75-inch television, if you will.
In
right?
my 1-bedroom apartment.
In your 1-bedroom apartment.
And I literally sit like probably 5 to 6, no, maybe like 7 to 8 feet away from it, which is actually pretty damn awesome because it makes me feel like I'm sitting in a theater when I'm watching movies.
So have you watched porn? Fair question.
On that TV, no.
Damn, that'd be kind of interesting.
But I do have I have a 65-inch that's in my bedroom that I have watched.
Definitely watched porn on. That's definitely a pornography TV. Well, the only reason why I ask is because it would be kind of traumatizing at certain angles. After a while, it might make you want to, you know, like, whoa.
Right.
That's kind of crazy.
It looks a lot bigger than I thought it was supposed to be.
You're all, like, it was like watching Tom Segura.
Her nipple is 7
Good
inches.
Lord,
What
that's a
the
pancake.
hell is that?
You ever throw a penny on a train track?
Yeah.
That's a big nipple.
We call it Canadian bacon.
Canadian bacon is always a good one. It's so true. I'm not being offensive towards women with big nipples. It just happens, but still.
Yep.
Big nipples are.
Nor are we being offensive towards Hawaiian pizza.
I love me some Hawaiian's pizza. Everybody says it. They're like, so. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Yes, I do.
As do I.
So, another funny thing, like when I was a kid, like one thing that my parents used to get all the time was Papa Murphy's Take and Bake, which I still love it today.
But it's just a random, weird concept because...
To me, it's the best concept, honestly.
I mean, yeah, if you're Papa Murphy's, because you're like, hey, I'm just going to put all the ingredients on this pizza. You're going to take it home and then cook it. So, and I'm still going to charge you.
Here's the reason why I like it. Number one, there's more sauce on the pizza versus Domino's or Pizza Hut or your average delivery pizza. Number two, there's more cheese on it.
Okay.
I love cheese.
Me too.
And number three, there's also more of the other toppings. In my opinion, the only other pizza you're going to get with, let's say you just got a regular pepperoni pizza. The only pizza you're going to get with more cheese and more pepperoni on it is probably from Costco.
True.
I'm not a big fan of Costco pizza.
Not right now. They're out of toilet paper.
Yeah. Fuck that. You know?
Damn Rona.
But
Derailed you, huh? Sorry
no,
about
no,
that.
you're good. You're good. It's just I was getting ready to say something else, but the one thing about Papa Murphy's is they switch it up all the time. They have seasonal stuff like
Really? That
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know.
around like Cinco de Mayo, they do a taco pizza.
What?
Yeah, you never had their taco pizza?
I've never had their pizza.
Bomb. They do then they'll switch it up and they do a cheeseburger pizza.
That I've had from Papa John's, which I thought for sure, and it's funny that we were just talking about this because I thought for sure I was going to hate the fucking thing. I was like, man, who the hell would want a cheeseburger pizza? But my inner fat kid said, try it. And I did, and I loved it, and it gave me the worst gas. But other than that, it was delicious. Not the gas, but the pizza was delicious. And I would totally do it again, I don't think my wife would appreciate it if I did it again. Light 'em up. But yeah, I
might
mean,
get kicked out.
I would probably get kicked out of the bedroom. for
Don't
that
be
one.
wearing socks, rubbing your feet on the carpet when you got gas. That could prove to be hazardous.
Could prove to be fatal.
Be a static electricity explosion.
And in other news, rectum just exploded when
Local tattoo artist blew himself up one day after eating a cheeseburger pizza
from Papa John's.
and was trying to shock his wife with static electricity.
Do, 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 do. That would be some funny shit. I mean, not funny shit, but it would be.
It'd be funny shit.
Funny shit.
Funny shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
As terrible as it would be, we would laugh about it.
So what's
if
your
we
worst-
saw something happen to somebody else.
What is your worst snack food that you just like have to fucking have and indulge in, and you don't give a rat's ass like what it does to anything?
I guess it depends on what you consider snack food.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a fat guy, so I snack a lot,
I mean, because to me, like, just like a giant bowl of macaroni and cheese is snack food.
That's a good snack.
And I will tear that shit up.
Now, what kind of Kraft macaroni and cheese?
Oh,
or are you
no,
talking
hell
about
no.
like the blue box? I mean, you said you grew up kind of thug, so I'm
Well, when I was a kid, yeah, it was box mac and cheese
the
all
blue
day.
box, or maybe
Because
even
I was a latchkey kid,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I would walk home every day when I
sure.
was in the first grade and make mac and cheese or top ramen,
ramen, yeah.
or boil some hot dogs or
yeah.
whatever the basic shit was.
Yep.
But my
If
mac
you've never
and
had
cheese,
a boiled hot dog,
yep.
don't do it on purpose, but you might want to try
When
it.
worst comes to worst, boil a hot dog and just try it.
And then drink the water. Just kidding. Don't,
Hey, but
don't.
boiled hot dogs, slice them up, put that in mac and cheese. That's like a 5-star restaurant.
Fuck yeah,
right
dude.
there.
We used to have weenies and eggs, fry them up on the, put them in a frying pan, make some scrambled eggs with it, and
Absolutely.
that was the shit.
So, when it comes to mac and cheese nowadays, I mean, I rarely do the box mac and cheese. That'll be like if I'm drunk, I'll do that because it's real quick. But otherwise, my mac and cheese is,
Velveeta?
well,
Oh.
I'll boil the noodles, I'll put some Velveeta, I'll get Campbell's tomato cheese, or not tomato cheese, Campbell's cheddar cheese soup.
Uh-huh.
Cream cheese, throw a little bit of Alfredo in there. I'll fry up some bacon, chop that up, and mix all that up. To me, that's mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Like I said, the box is when I'm feeling lazy or if I'm a little tipsy, we'll do the box. But so that's why I say, like, I don't know if you consider mac and cheese a snack because I'll turn it into a 3-course meal.
Right?
With just mac and cheese.
Do you ever throw like bacon in it?
Yeah, oh
Bacon's the shit. I love bacon.
Bacon. I mean, like recent times, like I'm making like shrimp mac and cheese, lobster mac and cheese,
It's like a Forrest Gump moment right here.
shrimp sandwich.
Pineapple
Or-
mac and cheese. Yeah.
So when I went to, speaking of mac and cheese, one thing I had that was just beyond ridiculous
I
was
almost thought you were going to say Beyond the Ink.
and also ridiculous.
And also ridiculous.
It was in San Diego and Mission Beach. There was a sandwich shop on the corner, half a block away from the beach. They had a sandwich. It was a pulled pork, mac and cheese, grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh no.
So it was 3 layers of bread. In between first and second layer was the grilled cheese. In between the next layer was the pulled pork and the mac and cheese. And that was like,
Heaven.
oh my God.
I immediately want that. Right
It
now.
wasn't the 4th of July, but let me tell you, bottle rockets
There
and
were some
snakes and sparklers and
fucking fireworks
mortars
going
were
off.
going off in my mouth. I mean, there were some fireworks that came out the other end
Nice.
later because I ended up eating 2 of them.
Oh, good Lord.
But
Sir.
it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was worth it. That's why
Yeah.
you said, like, no matter what happens. So it's got to be mac and cheese or the other one. Man, I'm trying to. There's got to be another one I can think of as far as a snack.
I'm going to do an extra podcast. It'll be kind of like a spin-off. It'll say snacking with me, you know, or whatever. So we can have some cool little snack recipes or I don't know. If you want to see that, comment down below.
Eating snacks while getting a tattoo.
Exactly. Snack twos. No. Yeah, because I love me some mac and cheese. Don't get me wrong, right? That's my go-to. But I'll make it. But I make it so easy, right? Like, I boil the noodles. I get, you know, that cube of butter, that stick. Well, I get about that much of the stick. Throw it in there after I strain it, of course. Throw about that much milk. And I get like 5 sliced cheese like this, you know, and I the regular sandwich cheese, and I peel them and I lay them out there, and then I'll throw another one in there, and I'll just kind of like to texture. And once it gets nice and just gooey and shit, throw some bacon in there or throw something else in there. It makes it amazing. But really, because I mean, you can use like cheddar cheese and you can use other things like that, but for some reason, man, that American cheese, just Kraft singles. Slice them, just keep throwing them in there, and then mix it around. About 10 minutes later, it's fucking amazing, and it goes great with everything. So yeah, recipes.
The one thing that I love about mac and cheese, and you'll probably most likely appreciate this, is that you can take almost
food.
What I was going to say was almost any type of like a dip recipe that involves cheese.
Yep.
And then just boil some noodles and throw the noodles in it. Bam, it's that type of dip mac and cheese.
Yep.
The first thing I ever did was it was after a potluck, and one of my coworkers made this it was like a buffalo chicken dip that you just eat with chips.
Yeah.
And I thought,
That would go
what
great.
if instead of chips, I just boil noodles
That
and
would
throw
go-
the noodles in it?
That would go so good with a mac and cheese.
And then there's actually a couple restaurants locally that make some ridiculous buffalo chicken mac and cheese.
What? That's some greasy.
Tilted Kilt is one of my favorites.
I don't know.
Because it's just like they give you a big, boneless, like flat fried chicken breast. And it's got all the breading and everything on it.
Yeah.
That's on top. And then you got the mac and cheese on the bottom, and they just throw like Frank's Red Hot on it. And that makes it buffalo chicken mac and cheese. And it is so good.
Will make you want to tilt your kilt.
But if you make it at home, so much better.
Well, yeah, I
I
feel
found
like,
so many different ways to make it at home.
as I say, because then you can make.
You
Use
can
my shirt.
make
I'm
it
almost
however
gonna
you want
say,
it.
yeah, you can almost make it with love,
Absolutely.
not make love to it.
I
That's
mean,
later.
You could. I saw that movie, American Pie. once.
American Pie, where he sticks
You
his-
call it American mac and cheese.
American pudding. Oh my God, that's horrible. But it's great anyway.
But I love it.
So how's this feeling for you, man? Feeling good?
It feels amazing. I love it. I miss tattoos. Want to get tattoos everywhere.
Right. So
It's one of it's like a, I mean, you know, I talked about motorcycles being a therapy, and you know, personally, this might touch on a little something deep towards the end of our deal here, but for me, tattooing is kind of like, it allows me to mentally focus my inner pain away and focus it on physical pain, which is, it's therapy, honestly. Like it's almost like meditation, even though we're sitting here talking.
yeah,
It's fantastic.
I agree. One of the reasons why I started this channel,
I
which
love
is
it.
because my mentality is kind of the same way. Like, I mean, and I did not tell him to say that. That's total true statement. All on his own. I didn't do it. But that is the reason why I started this channel, you know, and
Right.
because I use it for therapy, and I've used tattooing to feel something, just to feel. I just wanted to feel something. I needed to feel something, you know, and it always makes me feel better. But again, therapy, okay, cool, therapeutic, sure. But the physiology of it can play a huge factor, because what's it doing? It's triggering your dopamine and your endorphins and your healers and your feelers, and making you feel all good, you know. Granted, you feel tired as shit after a while, but you know, makes you feel really, really good. Well, me anyway. Makes
Your
me feel,
healers,
makes me feel,
your feelers,
yeah.
and fuck the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Fuck the Steelers.
I'm a Seahawks fan.
Right? I'm not, but it's okay.
FYI. We all make mistakes. I can't blame you for that.
Yes, this is true. But I've been a Raiders fan since 1979. I'm old, man. But yeah, so. But yeah, dude, I just think that with all this stuff going on, all this crazy crap, there are bigger things in life to worry about than just trying to stress, you know, like people are stressing the hell out over this coronavirus, and I agree, there's some seriousness to it, but there's also a lot of things that don't make sense to me.
Correct.
And there was a gentleman that I used to work with. This guy was phenomenal, super smart man. I mean, he's a multimillionaire, built tons of businesses, and he used to tell me, he used to say, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And I used to tell him, like, well, Mr. King, that was his name, Jim King. And dude was fucking phenomenal. He was really, really wise man. I mean, I think plus he was crazy as hell, and I loved him to death. But he would tell me, you know, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And so now I'm looking at a lot of these things that don't make sense, and I'm thinking about this whole coronavirus thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, you know, with everybody doing all their social distancing and doing their part, that's cool. That's great. You know, I've been doing the same thing. I've stayed indoors, haven't really ventured out much, you know. Come to the studio, no big deal, whatever. It's pretty easy for me to do that. But the thing that's really funny, not funny, haha, is just how we were talking earlier, all these people are doing their independent research, and they're coming up with a bunch of, doesn't make sense.
A bunch of stuff that doesn't
It's not quite
fall
kosher.
in line with what the TV and social media is telling you.
That's right. That's right.
So
So do your research, folks.
message.
Yeah.
Wake the
Message.
fuck up.
Wake up, folks. Do your research. Drew, thank you very much for being here, being a part
Thank
of
you, sir.
Beyond the Ink. It was always fun. And again, if you're still here, give us a thumbs up, smash that like button, share it all. If someone can, you know, if you've got a great story and you want to be a part of this, hit me up, comment down below. and let us know if you want to be on Beyond the Ink. And yeah, it'll be fun. Once all this pandemic stuff calms down, then I'll be taking in more clients. Right now, it's just only people that have already started. It's a very low profile. I don't take walk-ins. I don't do anything like that. I'm at a certain point in my career where I don't do that. So be safe. Hit that like button. Give us a nice little,
Get some therapy.
Get some therapy. Ink therapy works for you. It works great. So again, Matt Valdez, Drew, thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And again, you meet the craziest people, the coolest people in the most random spots. We met on a plane, and now I'm tattooing him. Fucking awesome.
Yes,
So,
sir.
with that said, I'll see you next time on Beyond the Ink. Thanks again. Bye.